What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So this is definitely going to be a personal episode of Joe Winko Talk. Nothing really morbid or gloomy, but it is going to be a personal episode, and there's definitely going to be some X-rated stuff mentioned in this episode of Joe Winko Talk. So if you're under 18, do not watch this video, please. So let me give you guys some background info before I get to what I'm going to be talking about. So in case this is the first video of me that you're watching, I am a single Gold Star gay guy living in northern Florida, and I've been trying to find a male lover and partner for an extremely long time, but have had virtually no luck finding one at all. The thing with me is I don't suck penis and I can't take it up the ass. I'm a total top. And the main thing I'm into is having my penis sucked on, like, all the time, like, literally constantly. I mean, just being completely honest, because it's absolutely true. But a lot of guys never want to be my lover and partner at all because they're either too stuck up to talk to me, or they never want to meet me in person because they're too stuck up, or they just want to hook up with as many guys as possible. I mean, it's always one of those three categories, really. Even though I talk to tons of guys all the time, I never find one guy who likes me enough, honestly. And I'm honestly trying to find a crazy and obsessive man who wants to be in my life forever and wants me in his life forever, just as long as he's a total bottom who just likes sucking me off all the time, honestly. But I'm trying to find a crazy obsessive guy, and to be completely honest with you guys, I have not came close to finding that yet. Despite the tons of love spells I've tried casting and the tons of love spell petitions I wrote up. And that's also the reason why I have this symbol drawn on my body as well. It's a gay magic Viking rune meant to draw love from one man to another man. And since I'm looking for a crazy obsessive man who would always want to call me all the time and who would become addicted to sucking my penis, I figured it would make sense to draw this symbol on my body, really. Eventually, I will find that, but so far, I haven't even came close to finding it yet. All I've been running into are a bunch of bad guys, literally, a bunch of bad guys, really. But one day, I will absolutely find what I'm looking for. Basically, everyone who I'm friends with and everyone who I talk to online, they all know that I'm trying to find a crazy, obsessive lover and partner because I'm very open about that, and it wasn't until recently that I became open about that, ever since I first read about the story of this one woman in Washington who was murdered by her stalker. I'll have a link to that video in the pinned comments of this one. These past few months have been extremely difficult because I've been trying to get away and been trying to get out of this house, but every single guy I talk to online is a complete jerk and none of them ever want to hang out with me at all, and it's really been wearing me down, honestly. And a couple weeks ago, I even posted a video of me complaining about how I can't find a lover at all and how all the guys I talk to online are absolute jerks. I'll have a link to that video in the pinned comment as well. One thing I forgot to say in that video, however, is that I was not looking for any advice at all. Because you have to remember, I've been trying to find a lover and a partner for an extremely long time, and most likely any advice you tell me is stuff that I heard before. The whole reason why I posted that video is because I thought it would attract the attention of a crazy obsessive guy who would want to call me and meet me and go for long drives with me and suck my penis all the time. I mean, that's basically the reason why I post all my videos. Well, not the sole reason why I post all my videos, but a major reason why I post videos, especially ones like this. That obviously did not happen, as you all know. And basically everyone who was trying to give me advice in the comments of that video were just saying everything that they said was just stuff that I heard before, the people who were trying to give me advice in the comments of that video. And a lot of it was not really useful to me at all. But I guess I'm kind of looking for advice in this video, which is a bit different from what I just said. There was actually one interesting thing that one of my close friends who I talk to on Discord told me a long time ago. They know that I'm trying to find a crazy and obsessive boyfriend, and they sent me this quote that I'm going to show to you guys and that I'm going to read to you guys right now. Here it is. Alright, it says, if a man has any Deegan proclivities and develops an amphetamine habit, they are definitely going to dive into the gay shit. It's like expecting a starving man with $10 not to eat at the McDonald's next door, but instead wait for a table at an expensive restaurant across town. It's quantity over quality every time. So that's a quote that one of my friends I talked to online sent me. And basically the context of that was like they knew that I was looking for an obsessive man to become my lover and partner. And they also mentioned, I mean, I know that there wasn't really any alcoholic thing mentioned in that quote, but they also mentioned that I should try becoming lovers and partners with either an ex-drug addict or an ex-alcoholic. And I honestly never thought of that at all, but that actually, the more I think about it, the more it actually makes sense, really. Now, I know what a lot of people are probably thinking now that I said that, but I never do drugs at all, and I never drink at all either. I have a hard stance on that. I stay away from drugs, I stay away from alcohol, and I don't do them at all. So, some of you guys may be worried, Joe, don't get with an ex-alcoholic or don't get with a recovering drug addict. They might get you addicted to whatever they're addicted to. That wouldn't happen. That sure as hell would not happen. And trust me, I definitely know that that wouldn't happen. But basically what my friend was telling me is that usually people who become alcoholics or who become drug addicts have an addictive personality. And an addictive personality that seems to fall in line with the type of guy I'm looking for. A crazy obsessive man who would always want to call me all the time, and who would always want to be close to me all the time, and who would always want to orally copulate me all the time. Definitely a guy with a addictive personality and an obsessive personality, really. He basically told me that I should try attending an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and see if I can find an obsessive male lover and partner there, really. And the more I think about that, the more that actually makes sense. Because, like, one stupid thing that people always tell me is that I should stop trying to meet guys online, that I should go to a bar or nightclub instead. And I don't want to meet a guy at a fucking bar or a fucking nightclub or a fucking social event, because they're always going to want to come back to that over and over again. They're always going to want to go to a bar over and over again. And I don't want to. I want someone like me who likes to stay at home most of the time and who's reclusive, but every now and then they like to go on a drive and go on a long road trip and explore someplace that's a bit obscure and everything. I mean, exactly like me, honestly. Well, in terms of that, exactly like me. So I always get annoyed whenever people tell me to meet someone at a fucking social event or at a bar or a nightclub, because I don't want to go to a fucking bar or nightclub, and I don't like them, and I don't like going to social events either, because you're not going to find, I'm pretty sure you're not going to find a crazy obsessive man at a bar or nightclub or at a social event, really. But the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting seems to have made the most sense, honestly, because those are people going there trying to recover and trying to get over a problem and an issue that they have. And in a way, it would be killing two birds with one stone. I'd be able to find my crazy obsessive male lover, and that same crazy obsessive man would be able to overcome his alcohol addiction as well. And I'm pretty sure that same crazy obsessive man with an addictive personality who I would meet at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, I'm pretty sure they would be reclusive themselves, because virtually almost every single guy I met online, even though I didn't meet them at bars or nightclubs, they basically all like to drink. And I myself am old enough to drink, but I never got into drinking alcohol. But virtually every single person who I've ever met always likes to drink. All of them like to drink. I mean, it's so true, really. But a person at an Alcoholic Anonymous meeting would never want to touch alcohol at all. And I myself never want to touch alcohol at all. And that's just one reason why me and him would be a perfect match. But there's a lot more besides that. I would imagine a person at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting would also be quite reclusive too. As I said earlier, since every single person I met always likes to drink alcohol, therefore they're not going to go out with a lot of people because they don't want to get tempted to drink at all, really. But if they're just with me, they would never get tempted to drink at all. Even the whole road tripping thing, like I wanted a guy who likes to drive and go on road trips a lot. I mean, I've been trying to find someone to take me up to Atlanta for a couple days, but I haven't yet, but please hope that I do. But even with the whole driving and road tripping part, I mean, obviously they're definitely never going to want to drink when they go for a long drive. And if I get them into driving and going on road trips, they'll never want to drink even more. I mean, their desire not to drink will be even stronger because they want to drive and go on a road trip with me, which will be even better. But exactly how do you guys think that I should do this? How do you guys think I should attend an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting? Because like my friend told me that people seriously do hook up at Alcoholics Anonymous meetings and everything. But obviously, I can't just walk in there and say that I'm looking for a man with an addictive personality to become my obsessive lover and who will constantly want to spend tons of time with me and suck my penis all the time. I mean, obviously, I can't say that. I have to be like extremely low key about it, especially with the fact that I live in northern Florida and I live in a really redneck hillbilly town in northern Florida, so that as well, really. But that's exactly what I was thinking of doing, just going into an alcoholics meeting and I would assume that we all sit around in a circle and we take turns talking and I say that I never drank alcohol at all, but I'm a supporter for Alcoholic Anonymous because I think it's sad when people get addicted to drinking and everything. And I can explain that instead of drinking alcohol, they should be around a friend who never drinks alcohol at all, like me, and they should develop another addiction instead, a much healthier addiction. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say they should develop a addiction to sucking my penis, otherwise that'd be way too far out there, and I'm pretty sure that wouldn't go over well. But they should develop a healthier addiction instead, and should have a nicer influence in their life instead, and that nicer influence could be me. But I only want to be the nicer influence for males, honestly, no females at all. But I already figured that out too. I mean, if I go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and a woman tries talking to me, I can give off vibes and still be polite, which will give her a sign like, oh, this boy isn't interested in talking to me at all. But if a man comes up to me and tries talking to me after an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, I mean, eye contact, very polite, very kind, and yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, if he takes the bait, then just gradually move in, become friends with them. And obviously I would have the rune symbol drawn on my arm. And obviously he would see the rune symbol drawn on my arm. And if he tells me, oh, that magic rune symbol is very cool, what is that? And then I would explain to him, well, it's a ancient magic Viking love rune symbol that I draw on my body a lot. And I wouldn't tell him that it was a gay love rune symbol, but I mean, I wouldn't like flat out tell him that I want him to become addicted to sucking my penis. I'd be very kind and very nice with him the whole entire time. I mean, obviously, I would want a man who's older than I am. I mean, the older the better, and like preferably someone in their 50s. That's my favorite age. Gen X for Gen Z. And I would just try to spend a lot of time with him, like especially if he's a lonely older guy, I would be talking to him and telling him that he should not drink alcohol at all, and tell him that he should get addicted to something else instead, and be very kind to him the whole entire time, mutter my supernatural chant under my breath, insomnis homo me omnium, and then I kind of feel like over time, me and him would develop a connection with each other, like an emotional connection, and then that would lead into a physical connection, and then, I mean, somehow, I haven't decided how I would do this yet. Actually, I kind of have decided how I would do this. I would talk to him about why I don't drink at all. I would tell him that I have type 1 diabetes, and that means that there's too much sugar in my body, really, because carbohydrates aren't digested right, and that if I drink alcohol, it would be extremely unhealthy for me. And then I would try to do this as low-key as possible, but I haven't really thought it entirely through yet. I would tell him that my body fluids taste very sweet, and that my body fluids are also very healthy, like my sperm is very healthy. And I would imagine he would either get really weirded out or really creeped out, or he would think it was funny and start laughing. And okay, if he does that, I would be like, yeah, and then I would tell him that I love having my penis sucked a lot. I'm not sure if I'd be that open, honestly. I mean, this would all be after me and him become close to each other and after me and him become friends with each other, really. This is what I'm imagining, and I'm like over at his place talking to him and everything like that. I would also show him my videos on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure he would eventually end up finding the videos of me explaining how I love having my penis sucked on a lot, and how I always wanted an obsessive man to be my lover and partner. And then once I feel like it's safe enough, I would finally explain to him that I always wanted an obsessive boyfriend, and also how I wanted to help a man overcome his alcohol addiction and replace his alcohol addiction with a healthier addiction instead, which would be me, honestly. And then hopefully from there, one thing would lead to another. He ends up becoming my obsessive lover. He ends up calling my phone every single day. He ends up wanting to spend tons of time with me every single day. He ends up wanting to suck my penis all the time, every single day. And yeah, it warms my heart just imagining that, really. I actually forgot to mention this earlier, but I imagine that when I finally find a man who becomes my obsessive lover, I imagine like what quirks he would have about him that would make him addicted to sucking my penis all the time, exactly as I want him to. He would either have a very strong oral fixation, or he would be an extreme pervert. And another thing is, a lot of people who drink alcohol a lot, they're trying to hide like some stuff going on inside their mind. I mean, I imagine a man who constantly wants to have another man's penis inside of his mouth all the time, as much as I want to have my penis inside another man's mouth all the time. I imagine if a man wanted another man's penis inside his mouth all the time and he kept thinking about that over and over again, especially in redneck hillbilly Florida, I imagine that he would get worried that he has some kind of problem or something, because if someone tried sucking a normal man off like constantly all the time back to back, a normal man would get tired of that and wouldn't want it that often. I mean, because no one enjoys it as much as I do. But I'm not a normal man at all, so if a crazy obsessive man became addicted to sucking my penis all the time and wanted to do it over and over and over again, even after I ejaculate inside of his mouth over and over and over again, I would be totally fine with it. But for a guy who constantly loves sucking penis all the time and wants to do it over and over and over again, I mean, I would imagine that he would think that he has some kind of problem or something, that he's constantly thinking about that, especially in redneck hillbilly Florida, which is kind of homophobic, and he would try drinking a lot of alcohol to like wash the pervertic thoughts away. However, once he meets me, he wouldn't need to wash those pervertic thoughts away, and he could just act on them all the time instead. Oh yeah, definitely. And another quirk about him would be that he is deeply obsessed and deeply in love with me as well. And if I met him at an Alcoholic Anonymous meeting, he would be, because I seriously would care about him and have deep feelings for him and want him to overcome his alcohol addiction and help him overcome his alcohol addiction. And that's how me and him would fall in love with each other, honestly. Like, the more I imagine this, the more it makes sense and the more it seems like this is the perfect game plan, really. It's honestly the nicest one, too, honestly. And getting back to what I said about the oral fixation part, I would imagine a guy who's addicted to drinking alcohol and everything would actually have an oral fixation, because he's always putting bottles in his mouth and is always drinking the alcohol all the time. But he can just replace putting a bottle in his mouth with putting my penis in his mouth, and he can just drink my sperm and my pre-ejaculate fluids all the time instead, because it's much healthier for him, especially since he's drinking sperm from a magic warlock who's practicing witchcraft and stuff like that. And it would literally be a win-win for both of us, honestly. He would have a much happier life. He wouldn't be addicted to the alcohol. He would have a lover and a partner, me, and I would also finally have my crazy, obsessed, deranged man as well. Oh yeah, it warms my heart thinking about that. But one other thing that I imagine from a guy who's going to Alcoholic Anonymous meetings, I would imagine that he would want to get control in his life as well, as in not being addicted to the alcohol at all. And instead, he would end up addicted to my penis and end up addicted to sucking my penis instead. That would actually be a healthy addiction, as I explained earlier. But in addition to that, he would definitely be in control also, because, like, when I'm having my penis sucked, I'm not like the rough, like throat fucking type at all. I honestly just like to sit back and relax and have my penis sucked. Like for some reason, everyone always imagines that I'm this like aggressive, dominant master who will grab your head and ram my penis down your throat, but that's definitely not me. I like to sit back and just relax with my legs spread wide open while a guy creeps up between my legs and starts performing oral sex on me over and over and over again. Even after I ejaculate, he continues performing oral sex on me over and over and over again, even after I ejaculate again and again and again. And even after I eventually get really tired and black out, and he continues doing it over and over again. And he hears me moan and hear me compliment him and hear me tell him how good all that contact, attention, and affection that he's casting on me feels all the time. And yeah, like literally the opposite of degrading. Because you know how in some porno videos, like the guy getting sucked off is always degrading the guy who's like sucking him off? That would not be me. That I would be the exact opposite. Like if a crazy obsessive guy was like constantly connected to me and sucking my penis all the time, I would be complimenting him the whole entire time. I would be telling him that he's my stud, that he is my sex god. Who wouldn't want to be called a sex god, honestly? That he's my lover and that he's my warrior and that he's my copulator. I was actually planning on writing a whole list of nicer words to call a guy because besides my cocksucker, really, because the term cocksucker, that sounds like a rude insult you call someone. I mean, like I remember people used to call each other that back when I was in middle school, and it always sounded mean. So I prefer the term oral sex man instead because it sounds classier. And one of my sexual fantasies is a guy dressing up in a suit and tie and orally copulating me while I have his name written all over my body. Very similar to a love spell I tried casting a while ago. So yeah. But it will literally be an addiction that's actually healthy for him as well, because human sperm actually has like lots of vitamins in it, like calcium, protein, obviously, and also vitamin C, and it also works as an antidepressant as well. The asexual people on FetLife do not believe that, but that's a whole nother topic I'm going to cover in another video. But it is absolutely true, honestly. In addition to all the magical properties of my semen and my sperm, especially when we're doing magic sex rituals together, which is exactly what my obsessive male lover is going to get all the time when we finally connect with each other. Not if we finally connect with each other, when we finally connect with each other. Just like every single one of the love spell petitions that I wrote in this book. They're all going to happen, honestly. So that's basically the topic for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. How do you guys think that I should go through with this, like attending an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and trying to find an obsessive lover and partner there, in addition to what I talked about in this video? I mean, obviously I can't just go to an Alcoholic Anonymous meeting and say that I want an obsessive man to suck my penis. I mean, I'm autistic, but I'm not that autistic. I have to have like a strategy or something. I mean, like if people ask me why I'm there, I have to tell them, well, it's because I feel sorry for men who have alcoholic addiction problems and that they should replace their addiction problems with something else instead, an addiction that's more healthier for them, or they should have a nicer influence in their lives, like a friend who never drinks alcohol, me. And that's the reason why I'm here. I would imagine that if I went into an Alcoholic Anonymous meeting and said that, I would imagine that would warm at least one person's heart, really. And I'll make sure to have the ancient magic gay Viking rune drawn on my arm while I say that, make sure that it's clearly visible. But what else do you guys suggest when it comes to that? Like, what else should I try doing to attract an obsessive lover from an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting? And how many of you guys think that I should really do that? Because I know there's a lot of people who are saying, no, Joe, you shouldn't do this at all. But I'm not interested in hearing from those people. I want to hear from the people who actually think that this is a good idea. What else do you think I should include in my plan to attend an Alcoholic Anonymous meeting and finding an obsessive lover, really? Let me know in the comments of this video, and let me know what you guys think of everything I talked about in this video. I hope you guys actually found it interesting, really. By the way, in other news, I'm actually going to be doing a Sims 2 series about me becoming a caretaker for a 75-year-old man who's prone to tons of health issues. I was thinking about calling it Healing Love Essence. That's the best title that I can think of it. But it's kind of inspired by the movie Osmosis Jones or the cartoon series Ozzy and Drix. Those are basically cartoons about these cells living inside of a person's body who are actually alive and going around helping the person's health problems, which is basically what my Healing Love Essence series is going to be about. It's about me becoming the caretaker for a 75-year-old man who has a wide variety of health problems, but then me and him end up falling in love with each other, and he ends up consuming large quantities of my sperm over and over and over again, and my sperm is shown swimming inside of him, and my sperm is alive inside of him. And then my sperm basically swims through his whole entire body, helping heal his health problems that he's suffering from, and then he ends up becoming superhuman. Superhuman by 75-year-old man standards. I mean, it's not like he gets superpowers or anything, but because I've been casting so many magic spells and everything, it causes my sperm to become enchanted, so my sperm swims through his body and helps heal all of his health problems. I'm actually trying to figure out what health problems a guy older than 50 would suffer from, really, or would be prone to. I mean, I was planning on having him be in a wheelchair in the first episode, but once he has my sperm inside of him, my sperm swims through his body and starts healing his muscles and everything, and then he's able to walk again and he doesn't need the wheelchair. That's just one thing that I was planning on, but I wanted there to be a lot more health problems that he suffers from that my sperm ends up taking care of, because it's going to show what happens inside of his body and kind of what's happening outside his body as well. I mean, when he's interacting with me and everything. But yeah, another idea that I came up with. Hope you guys find it interesting. So that's basically it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. Please let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's get a conversation started. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So that's it. Peace out, people.